Well. We find ourselves here again to discuss another incident involving police. Tyreek Hill. Was he wrong? Was the police wrong? Well, let's talk about it from my perspective.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is James Duff Merritt, and I want to welcome you to the K-Sam Speaks podcast. Now, this is a podcast where topics involving law enforcement are discussed while offering real and transparent answers. Now, we are not trying to change the world, but just change one heart at a time. Here's your host, K-Sam.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to K-Sam Speaks podcast. Tonight, we are discussing the Tyreek Hill incident. I have a lot of good points I want to bring up to y'all, but let's set this up by taking out emotions. Let's take out emotions because a lot of these comments and how people are commenting on it involves a lot of emotional comments instead of looking at it from a wide perspective and a further back perspective. So it took me a little bit because I was waiting for some more facts and details to come out. And I've been having conversations about this the past couple days where people wanted to know what I thought about it. But let's dive into it. So Tyreek Hill, his fault, all his fault every day, because he created the situation. He created the situation. Well, what do I mean? Let's set this up. Let's walk through this, and I'm not saying this, and I'm not taking up for the police officer or Tyreek, because at the end of the day, honestly, they both were wrong. Two grown men, ego, power tripping, they both were wrong, and this could have went a whole different direction if one of them or both of them could have took a step back and restart. But unfortunately, it didn't. They didn't, which is why we find out here to discuss this situation. So if everybody didn't, please go and watch the full body camera. My channel, I don't do all this where I show the video and talk about it at the same time. I'm not that fancy. So go watch it for yourself. If you didn't watch it, then go watch it, then come back and watch my stuff, or vice versa. But from what I saw in the full 20-some minute body cam video, the reason why I say Tyreek is at fault for how this situation turned out is because you got to ask yourself, how did we get in this situation to where here we are discussing Tyreek Hill involvement with law enforcement before his football game? What happened to create the cops to stop Tyreek Hill on a traffic stop and for this to escalate and happen, whatever happened that we all saw on cell phone videos and body cam videos? Well, so they said he was driving reckless. He was speeding, no seatbelt. So nevertheless, what the traffic violation is, we must take a step back and say and look at who caused this situation. The cops didn't go and illegally stop Tyreek Hill just because they said, oh, hey, look, it's Tyreek Hill. Let's go stop him. No, whatever said violation, they said he was speeding and driving reckless and no seatbelt, and that was the probable cause for the stop. The video I saw, Tyreek popped off with an attitude right away. The cop knocked on his window, which is normal protocol. If the window is still up upon approach to the car, you give it a little tap with the knuckle, which signifies that, hey, I'm here. Because here's what happens. Some people get stopped by the cops and instantly start playing in their phone looking for insurance, or they start digging in the glove box looking for the insurance or registration, whatever documentation that they know police is going to ask for. Start looking for their driver's license. And half of the time, you can walk up on people and people don't even know that you're standing there. I done it multiple times, especially at nighttime with all the lights. Walked up right on top of somebody's window. They didn't even know I was there until I knocked on the window. I was like, oh my gosh, you scared me. So the officer knocked on his window to let him know, hey, I'm here. And instantly Tyreek popped off. Don't hit my window like that. Don't bang on my window like that. Don't knock on my window like that. Whatever he said, but instantly attitude. So based off the attitude, he created the incident. Because why are you hostile for? Because you got caught driving like you was driving. But beyond that, yes, this second cop that came in could have handled the situation a lot better. But nevertheless, if Tyreek would have complied, I think that none of this would have happened. I have some key points that I want to make of why I think Tyreek Hill was in the wrong. And we know that the NFL is not going to punish him because, as we see, he's all over CNN and NFL and all these sports networks playing victim like he didn't do nothing wrong and he didn't deserve to be treated like that. Which, again, I'm not saying that yes, he deserved to be treated the way he was treated, but what I am saying is he created the outcome for how he was treated. He caused that. Um, so talking about the cause of the stop, it was his driving behavior. If you would have been driving like a normal citizen, like everybody else, I'm sure the cops wouldn't have stopped you. But you gave them a reason to draw attention to yourself, and they stopped you. So who fault is that? You can't blame nobody else about that but yourself. Reasons why it was escalated. His attitude towards the officer. Instantly, he had an attitude. And what happens, folks? Is you have a push of authority. Where he trying to dictate how the stop is going to go. And when he's trying to dictate how the stop is going to go, as a police officer with authority, that's something that you cannot allow to happen. Is you can't allow people to dictate how your stop is going to go. And I'm a sound real hypocritical real quick because I'm also say that you can also allow people to dictate how the stop is going to go. So hear me out. Walk with me with it. So if Tyreek would have been respectable, hey officer, how you doing? Look, I apologize. Yes, I was speeding. I was driving a little reckless, carelessly. Look, I'm running late. I'm trying to hurry up and get to the stadium. I apologize. Whatever you feel consequences I get, I own up to it. Man, look, Mr. Hill, if it was me talking, I'm talking, me. Hey, Mr. Hill, man, look, I would educate him. Obviously, he knows better, but I'll still educate him on why driving in that manner could cause other people to be in danger. Hey, yes, I understand you're late, but what if you wreck or what if you hit somebody? Then you don't make it to the game. Then you hurt an innocent person because X, Y, Z. So if he would have went in that manner, I don't think none of this would have happened, and nobody would have ever known that Tyreek Hill was involved with law enforcement before the game. Just that simple. But because he did dictate how the stop was going to go and had an attitude, well, now I was like, why you have an attitude for something that you done, and now you trying to tell me what I can do and what I will do and what I won't do? And it's like, wait, hold up, partner, who are you? And I told one of my partners this. I said, people mad that what this officer done to him and how they dragged him out or how they yanked him out the car. They didn't drag him, but how they pulled him out the car and they had him on the ground, which is normal handcuffing procedures. You put somebody on their belly when you're trying to handcuff them, especially when he was being uncooperative and, had an attitude. Well, it's a little more than that. So I'm not just going to treat you, like you've been compliant and handcuff you standing up. But like I told one of my boys, he dictated how all this was going to go. So with that, it's like, man, why dude got an attitude? Like, man, it's a little more. Now you trying to roll up your window on me. You argumentative with me for what reason? So, and most people don't know who these celebrities are. So it's like, why are you doing all this? So yes, this one officer came in and escalated it because, like I said before in my episodes, you act a fool, I can show you how to act a bigger fool if we go that. I give you what you give me, and it's just that simple. But it's so easy for people to blame the police for the outcome of situations because Tyreek Hill started this incident with his bad attitude, and the police just one upped them and show you and showed him, you want to act a fool? I can act a fool with you. And now I have authority to put hands on you. And now you want to play victim. Oh, my knee hurt. Oh, I was getting out the car, but I just moved a little slow because I had knee surgery. I was shocked. It happened so quick. I didn't know what was going on. And what's crazy is before this video came out on Monday, Sunday after the game, all before the game, when people was talking about it, he had this whole innocent he had this whole innocent image, like he didn't do nothing wrong, and the cops were just tripping on him just because who he was. But now the full video comes out, and he showed himself, and now the world see how he treated those police officers. Now he want to backtrack the statement. What people should be mad about is how he got off after acting that way. People should be upset about, because he was a superstar in the status that he holds, that he got off on that. Because I guarantee you, if he was a normal civilian, he would have ended up in jail. I guarantee you he wouldn't have got off that easy if he was a civilian, a regular civilian, not a high profile athlete. But what Tyreek displayed was a clear case of entitlement. I'm a high profile athlete in this city. You should know who I am. I should be able to drive how I want to drive. I'm gonna tell you what you will and won't do, and you go listen to me. But it's all fun and games until police got authority and got a reason to put their hands on you. They had an incident a couple of weeks ago. I forgot where exactly where it happened, but they had this teenager. Whatever the circumstance of the call, the cops was trying to clear out a group from the parking lot. Had this one teenager who want to talk big and bad to the cops, and I'm not going to where you can't make me move, and what's up? I'm in your face. What you gonna do about it? This and this, and literally challenging the cop to fight him. Like what's up? I'm in your face. What you gonna do about it? Bam! Cop slammed him on the ground. Oh, I'm a minor. You can't do this to me. I'm hurt now. No, partner. You you ran your mouth. And now you want to play victim with it. So man, Tyreek had a perfect opportunity to set an example for the rest of the country. Again, whether he acted that way and the cops still treated him badly, or if he acted in a respectful manner and he still was mistreated. And here's what I mean. Tyreek had a perfect moment to teach the entire country a lesson, a valuable lesson. And what is that lesson? You own up to your wrong, his driving behavior, whatever it was. You own up to that. You treat cops respectfully. You treat them like another human being. You treat them like another grown adult. And you just deal with your consequences. But then he also did teach a lesson. You act a fool, you gonna get treated like a fool. People don't like that though. Man, I saw many comments about, well, they didn't have to handle him like that because all that over a speeding ticket. They put him on a hot concrete. They didn't have to slam him to the ground like that. But all I see is people justifying his behavior instead of chastising his behavior and saying, man, he wrong. Because we have to get to the point to where we argue right and wrong. It's so easy to pinpoint the police for doing this and doing that, but nobody's talking about his faults. He got the Miami Dolphins that released a statement. His head coach released a statement. Everybody's defending his behavior, and all that's teaching him is justifying that he really didn't do nothing wrong. And that's not the case. And that's what's wrong with society is we so quick to justify the things that happen to people, but we don't want to talk about why we got to that situation to where these people got themselves into. I saw comments, if that was Tom Brady, that wouldn't have happened to him, or if that was a white person, that wouldn't have happened to him. Y'all need to go look up what happened to that number one golf player, Scotty Scheffler, the morning of the championship round. He thought he used his entitlement, his superstar athlete entitlement, and I don't have to listen to the cops because I have to get to this golf course. I have to go this route, and he disobeyed law enforcement demands because the road was closed for a fatal traffic crash, and he decided I'm still going and I'm not listening to you and whatever else happened. But they brought him to jail the morning of the championship golf round. I don't care who you are, you going to jail, you know? So there's a clear case of if it was a white athlete, if he deserved to go to jail, he was going to go to jail. So let me see. I had some notes, man, because it's just been a lot. So the example he set for society. Let's talk about the further examples. His celebration. So if y'all didn't see his celebration, he scored a touchdown. He placed his hands behind his back as he was getting arrested, and Jalen Waddle came up behind him as imitating a police officer and walking him away. Everybody thinks that's funny. It's cute. Oh, it was comical because of what happened to him earlier. But let's go deeper than that. Let's go deep because we surface level. It's cute right now, right? Everybody get why he done it. Compare that to the LSU wide receiver Kyron Lacey, how he celebrated for the LSU versus USC game. He done a gunshot motion. He got a penalty for it. He done it again on the sideline for whatever reason. He was captured on the sideline doing it again. And people are on his case because, oh, he's a thug, because he's imitating, like he's portraying like he's shooting a big gun at the USC players, or he's shooting a gun, and that shouldn't be allowed in sports, and he's a thug and he's this and he's that. So y'all feel some type of way because it's a gun motion, but how would y'all feel if y'all pee-wee football player sons or high school or college athletes use Tyreek Hill's celebration of being arrested and being walked off by another player as if they were a police officer? How would you feel seeing that celebration by your little boy who's playing flag football that looks up to Tyreek Hill and sees all this on TikTok? Because yes, y'all kids on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all this other stuff that y'all let them be on, and they see Tyreek Hill acting like that to the police officers and say, oh, well, if Tyreek Hill could talk to police like that and get and see that it's okay with it, well, that's the way we talk to them, you know. How would y'all handle y'all kids if y'all kids talk to y'all in that manner? Because it's authority. It's all about the authority. Cop, parents, coaches, whatever. It's about authority. But people's more crucial because it's law enforcement. But at the end of the day, it's about authority. You know, it's all about respect. And he didn't give that cop respect from jump. Yes, you had one cop who wasn't going to tolerate it, but I just told my other partner that said you got to have these cops on certain calls, because all that's going to do, if Tyreek Hill would have got away with talking to those cops in that manner, all that would have done was set the next cops up for failure. Because here's why. So Tyreek got away with it. Don't want to roll the window down. I'm doing what I want to do on this traffic stop. Like I run the traffic stop. They let him go. They give him a ticket. Let him act the complete fool however he wanted to act, and they let him drive off. Cool. Tyreek feeling like, yeah, I handled them. He could go brag to his boys in the locker room. Man, I got stopped by them cops, man. You know, them 4 white boys, on the motorcycles, and they told me, rolled out my window. I looked at them and like, I ain't rolling out my window. And, he gonna elaborate the story like he's doing now, playing victim. And now other people are getting an example of how he got away with handling the cops, because I'm big and badder than the cops, and I'm gonna tell them what they gonna do. And then now somebody else will go try it, and they go either get themselves hurt because Tyreek done it, so I should be able to do it. But here's how he sets up failure for the next officer, because now he gonna go try that with another officer who ain't gonna take his nonsense like that second officer, and he gonna get handled. And then it's gonna be like, whoa, Like, y'all can't do this because I done this the last time and nothing happened to me. So, it's just like we all are. If we get away with it once, we go try it again. And unfortunately, we have no room for this in today's society, especially in law enforcement. How officers are getting gunned down left and right by people not complying on traffic stops. That's the telltale sign that somebody has bad intentions is non-compliance. Because why are you not complying for something that you done wrong? How is that? So the celebration, just think of what image he portrayed to all the people, all the young football players, wide receivers who looks up to him. You're supposed to be a role model. Why nobody's upset about that? For the example he done set out, that's forever instilled in the internet. That's not going nowhere. But that's cute because it's Tyreek Hill, and it's the police, and the police was so wrong and so aggressive, and they were just out of order and they was out of control, and he needs to be fired. What's going to happen to Tyreek for his behavior? The thing about this officer is he didn't violate his rights. They got case law that says they could remove drivers. We could remove drivers out of vehicles for our safety. He didn't break the law by putting them on the ground and placing them in handcuffs. Tyreek on the phone yelling he's been arrested. He was never arrested. He was detained. Please understand the difference between under arrest and detainment. Y'all research that yourself. And so if anything, the cop just was a no-nonsense cop. And that's okay. Because, hey, man, business is business. Like, I'm not here to hear your mouth, your attitude, whatever. You ain't gonna just do what you want to do and think that you go get away with it. So then we have to stop justifying people's bad behavior to make them fit the role of a victim. I give y'all an example. Let me find this message. So I was talking about it with somebody, and they was like, "Man, F Miami police," because they said they had a visual estimation of his speed 60 and a 55. I don't know. I still haven't seen a speeding ticket. And I was like, I was like, so they stopped for 5 miles over? Like, yeah, bro. I was like, that's not typical because it's so much of a norm thinking that 5 miles over is actually legal that people think is legal. Like, people think 5 miles over that you could go 5 miles over and that's okay. Speeding is speeding. 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile, 4 mile, 5 miles. Speeding is speeding. But many years, driving behavior, everybody know the norm is 5 miles over, which is okay. But before that, I asked him what was his thoughts on Tyreek's behavior because he didn't make it no better. And he said, I think he was just frustrated because he was just trying to get to the game, honestly. So again, another excuse for his behavior. So if he's frustrated because he's trying to get to the game, whose fault is it that he was driving like that? So it's now it's the police fault because they prolonging him from getting to the game. So now he's frustrated, which most people get frustrated by being stopped by the police, not because they are being stopped by the police, but more so the fact that they got caught committing whatever traffic violation that they got committed. Let's keep it a buck. They not mad at the police. They're more so mad at themselves, but they not going to take it out on themselves. They go take it out on the police because you caught me. Well, that's part of my job. It's cat and mouse to catch you. So you have this excuse of he's been frustrated because he was just trying to get to the game and that the officer was trying to prove a point. Yeah, I can see the officer trying to prove a point. Was it a good time to try to prove a point? One can argue yes, one can argue no. But again, Tyreek was trying to prove a point too, that he's going to tell them what they can and can't do. Let me see, man. Travis Kelce. again, applauding his behavior, joked around and said that if that's how players play following an arrest, which he wasn't arrested, then he would gladly be locked up, because Kelsey was predicting that Tyreek would have a great game following this incident, and that he has this fun touchdown celebration now. So now it's all fun. It's all fun in games until your kid go do it. Then how would you feel about it? Mike Daniels, his coach, Mike McDaniel, quoted that the thing that effed him up, being quite frank, is I don't know exactly what that feels like. And what he's talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is he doesn't know what it feels like to be a black person being handled by the cops like that. Well, here's the thing, Mike. You act right, you don't get treated like that. And yes, some go argue, well, there's been many cases where you comply and they still happen on this and this, but that's the very few cases, just like the very few bad apples in this large profession of police officers. People criticizing the cop because, oh, you're supposed to be professional, you're supposed to de-escalate this situation, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. Tyreek is professional. Why nobody criticizing his behavior and his unprofessionalism? In his interview, some point after the game, after this happened, he's talking about, I respect law enforcement because I want to be one of them when I grow up. I have a police hat and everything already, and I want to be a police officer after my football career. And I said that was lip service, because your what they call it, your public assistant or whatever, your agent, and told you need to go say some good stuff about police because they done found out you done acted a plum fool on this traffic stop and you about to get exposed. So now you need to go put some good stuff out to make you not seem such like a fool. So what you say? Oh, I respect law enforcement. Everything law enforcement do for us, I appreciate it. I respect them. I want to be one when I grow up. Man, get out of here. Not acting like that. That's how you go treat people who, if you respect the profession so much, that's how you go treat people. What else we had? So, who is this? The Miami Dolphins statement. And I'm going to start wrapping this up here shortly. While we commend MDPD for taking the right and necessary action to quickly release this footage, we also urge them to take equally swift and strong action against the officers who engaged in such despicable behavior. So, again, we blaming police, but they didn't say nothing about Tyreek's behavior and how he acted the plum fool on this traffic stop and treated these officers. Because, yet again, like I said at the beginning, he acts respectful. He owns up to his mistakes, whatever he done. I think none of this happens. But again, it's easy to pinpoint the police because we're supposed to be professionals. We're supposed to de-escalate. Why we always have to de-escalate something when people escalate it? You notice how that always turns out to us of, oh, well, y'all supposed to be the police. Y'all supposed to be out here de-escalating stuff. Why is always the police fault? Man, let me see. So we talked about the entitlement, his behavior, the excuses made for people that people was making for Tyreek. And man, like I said, all in all, it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened because Tyreek should have handled himself more accordingly. And the officers definitely could have done a better job of, yes, de-escalating the situation. But let's look for some accountability from Tyreek. Oh, hold up. This is what I wanted to get at. So he done an interview today and said that he admitted some regrets, but he still calls for the officer who restrained him to be fired. Here's what Tyreek said. I could have been better. I could have let my window down. At the end of the day, I am human and I got to follow the rules. I got to do what everyone else would do. Now, does that give them the right to literally beat the dog out of me? Absolutely not. Let's break this down. I'm going to get out of here. I could have been better. So you owning up to it. I like that. I could have let my window down. But People saying that he didn't do nothing wrong by keeping his window up because that's his right. So what changed, Tyreek? Now that I could have let my window down because you realize how simple that was, and that all it started because you didn't want to listen about rolling your window down. At the end of the day, here's the key point, ladies and gentlemen. I am human. I'm human. And I gotta follow the rules. Let's talk about this and then we're gonna get out of here. I'm human. So what you saying, Tyreek? He's asking for grace on how he acted because he's a human. He wants grace for everybody because now he was exposed of how he treated those officers on the initial stop because he's human. Why are you not giving that same officer grace or those officers grace because they're human, but you want them to be fired? You're not going to get fired from the NFL. The Dolphins won't release you, but you willing to mess up somebody's livelihood for your actions, for your behavior, because you want to attack a fool. Now it's somebody else's fault, but then you're trying to justify it because, oh, I'm human. You know, I always talk about that when these situations happen where police officers involved in an incident, we never take the time to stop and look back at the police officer. What they went through that day. These officers riding a motorcycle. It's hot. They probably aggravated. They got to work a traffic detail. They got to work in this construction zone because people, all this stuff. And then you have somebody who they just doing a routine traffic stop, and then bam, he acting a fool and giving them lip. Bro, it's hot. I ain't got time for this. So we go deal with this and nip this right in the bud, One more point. The police department. Shame on them. Why? Look how fast they put that man on admin leave before any of this came out. I guarantee you, it wouldn't surprise me if that man get fired, or those officers, if that one officer get fired who acted in an aggressive manner, if he gets fired behind this incident because the Dolphins are pushing for something to happen to him. Tyreek done made a public statement wanting him to be fired. So now they got pressure on them, and it's easy to get rid of that one officer than to stand behind your one officer who didn't do nothing wrong, criminally or probably policy broken. But it's easy to get rid of that one officer and just say, man, I'm sorry, but you got to go, versus standing behind your officer for doing what they're supposed to do and doing their job for somebody who's not complying with them. That's the part that's so messed up about this law enforcement world. Out of all this happened Sunday. Still haven't heard nothing from the police department. And here's the crazy part. As a police officer, he's on admin leave, which means he cannot discuss this incident with nobody. He can't tell his side of the story. Nobody can hear what he has to say. But now he's getting this image painted on him as a bad officer, as an out-of-control officer, as an officer who got in his feelings, who was ego tripping, who was power tripping and stuff like that. And he just got to take that image. But Tyreek gets all his platform, all his social media platform, and all these high-profile media outlets to where he could say stuff like this, that, oh, I'm just human. I could have done things better, but I didn't deserve to get the dog beat out of me. Bro, they didn't even beat you, and the dog beat out of you? Come on, man. That's a play on words, bro. That's a play on words. But I'm going to wrap this up. I went a lot longer than what I wanted to. But all in all, ladies and gentlemen, all I ask that as a society, we won't get better until we take a step back and stop looking at these incidences with emotions and start looking at it for right and wrong. Let's argue right and wrong. Stop arguing speculations and personal feelings about stuff. Yes, I know they got cops doing bad stuff out there. They have cops who makes it harder to trust cops. I get it. But at the end of the day, we got to take each situation as a new situation every time. because of what happened here. We can't automatically assume that it wouldn't happen over there. Law enforcement, we got to do better. We got to do better. But that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Check me out on the new TikTok page. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of K-Sam Speaks. Peace.